Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. It's Johnny here from MTV Trail Rider. Today we're going to talk about the Polygon Siskiu T8, why I like it, what I like about it, maybe some of the shortcomings on the bike, some things that I've changed, things I'm going to be changing, and just kind of give you a good just overall view of this bike and see if it's something that's going to be worth purchasing for you in the future. Now you might notice all the snow back here. It is freezing up here in Michigan. Just relocated back up here in this fall. It's about 20 degrees out here today. Hopefully I'll be filming in the garage here soon. Probably in the springtime we can get a shed built out in the back and clean out the garage for me to have a nice workstation and filming station for us. I do want to share with you guys, I am an ambassador for BikesOnline, but I do want to share that I am going to give and be as honest as I can on this bike and share what I do like and what I don't like, as I mentioned. But I did want to give you guys that heads up front. I am an ambassador for them, and but yeah, let's get to this bike. So this is the Polygon Siskiu T8. It's got 29-inch wheels. It's a 140 millimeter travel up front and 135 in the back. This bike retails at around $2,400, and my initial statement of this bike is that this is the best full suspension bike that you can get for the cost. You've got a frame with a very modern geometry, 65-degree head tube angle, long wheelbase gives you the stability and faster descents, but the shorter chainstay allows for more lively play out of your trail bike. The short standover height and nearly 40 millimeter bottom bracket drop makes you feel like you're more sitting inside the bike rather than on top of it when you're bombing down runs. With the large drop in the bottom bracket, the 175 millimeter length cranks do cause some pedal strikes. The components that come in this bike is where you'll see the reason for the cheaper build. However, you are getting a Fox 34 rhythm fork and Fox Float DPS rear shock, which are great components, especially at this level price. I don't think you'll find another full suspension trail bike close to this price range with the same suspension components. Although, you will need to fine tune these. I added 3 volume spacers to the fork and increased the volume spacer in the shock from 0.4 inches cubed to the 0.8 inches cubed volume spacer, and that helped tremendously. The fork does not come with any volume spacers at all. I weigh about 200 pounds, and I found myself ramping up through the travel way too quickly. Now, most people who have ridden a lot tend to carry over their contact points from previous bikes. These are like your handlebars, your grips, saddle, pedals, those main contact points. These are the parts that I currently have switched out, along with longer travel dropper posts from one-up components that I used on my previous bike. The weak spots for components are the entity products, which are the handlebar, stem, saddle, and wheels. The stock V flow snap tires are way too burly for me and the conditions I ride. They provide a lot of grip with huge knobs, but are way overkill for my trails. So they got replaced with the Maxxis dissectors, and then I'll keep the flow snaps as spares. The components that come stock are good products, but are heavy all around. My bike out of the box weighed 36.5 pounds with tubes. This is the size large with 29-inch wheels. After making the changes I mentioned and going tubeless, I dropped the bike weight down to 33 pounds. I believe just switching out the tires and going tubeless dropped 2 pounds by itself. Quick note here, when building up this bike from the box, make sure to check the front wheel cover. This is important. The hubcap gets stuck on the packaging, and if you try to install the wheel without this special piece, you can create some damage to your fork and your wheel set. So do double check that this did not get stuck and you had this on your front wheel when installing. All right, back to the fun stuff. When I still lived in Tennessee, I took it for a ride at Benton Falls and had a long, steady climb of around 1,000 feet of elevation, and it felt great. I hate climbing, but it felt good. The steep seat tube angle makes pedaling more efficient and helps keep your weight forward, and the 12-speed drivetrain gives you a nice granny gear to keep your wheels moving. Descending on this bike is so fun. Because you feel like you're more inside the bike, like I mentioned previously, you feel like you can reach faster speeds with more confidence and a lot more control, and the 4-piston brakes from Tektro are there to make sure you can stop. There isn't much concern I have except for the cable routing around the bottom bracket of this bike. That's really my main concern, and I haven't really had any problems with it, and it just seems that the way they routed this, there could be better ways potentially. It just seems very vulnerable in the current state. So if you have any type of crashes or if you smash your bottom bracket on some rocks or something like that, I would just keep an eye on the cable housing here, as it just does feel very exposed. If you're looking to purchase this bike, but looking to make immediate upgrades, there are a few items I would recommend, but they vary greatly in cost. One would be the wheel set. The entity wheels that come on here, they're great for the average rider, but they're very heavy. I actually have a pair of premium carbon wheels coming from Noble Wheels. Those should be here about next week with the Hope Pro 4 hubs build. This is a big upgrade at around $1,200, but with a good entry-level price bike, this still leaves you under the cost of comparable bikes with a premium wheel set. I wouldn't consider upgrading the suspension unless something breaks or fails on you. Just to invest a few bucks in volume spacers and tuning the suspension that way. Another upgrade or change would be the dropper post and brakes. But again, those are not necessities that need changed right away. And with the brakes, you can look at just upgrading the levers, as that typically results in more improvement of the feel and stopping power of the calipers anyways. My changes are personally coming from the fact that I already had these parts from my previous bike, and as a new ambassador for Noble Wheels, I'm not getting those carbon wheels at retail. But I know that some have larger budgets, and buying this starter at $2,400, you can easily spend your extra budget in higher quality components to replace the entity branded items and still have a much nicer build than an entry level or versus a stock build from another name brand company at $5,500. I appreciate you guys watching this video, and I hope I was able to provide some good insight and some helpful information for you guys, sharing the good, the bad of this bike, and maybe some of the shortcomings, but also the benefits of getting started on an entry-level bike, entry-level full suspension bike at a good price point with good components. If you guys have any questions specifically, reach out to me in the comments. I'm pretty active there, so I'll be happy to help wherever I can. Do be sure to stick around and check out some of the other videos I have. I've done some other how-to videos I've probably mentioned already on adding those volume tokens, those spacers in the front fork as well as the back shock. Those do make a huge difference in how this bike feels, give you confidence on the bike and riding the trails. See you next time.